Bonjour à tous, goedemiddag allemaal. Hartelijk welkom in het auditorium van het Martins Hotel van onze Belgian Football Center in Tubeke. Avant de parler des Diables Rouges, je tiens à souligner que la Fédération belge de football est ravie de pouvoir annoncer qu'elle a prolongé son partenariat avec Carrefour, lequel durera jusqu'au 31 juillet 2020. Ik geef nu onmiddellijk het woord aan Bart Peelmans, directeur sponsoring bij Carrefour, om meer uitleg hierover te geven.
Merci Pierre. Effectivement, je suis aussi ravi de pouvoir vous confirmer la prolongation du contrat entre Carrefour Belgique et la Fédération belge du foot. Un partenariat qui, pour nous, se traduit en 3 piliers importants. De eerste is dat wij dankzij dit partenariat kunnen wij 200 jeugdploegen sponsoren met jeugdkits en sportmateriaal dat, zoals u weet, een zeer groot deel uitmaakt van het budget van deze sportclubs. Ten tweede zijn wij fier op onze Belgian Red Flames en vooral op de resultaten die zij hebben behaald. En de sfeer die wij in het stadion hebben proberen mee te creëren met hen de voorbije maanden, zullen wij ook verder doorzetten in onze meer dan 750 winkels. Et bien évidemment, tout ce qu'on fait avec les Belgian Red Devils, et surtout dont l'album collecteur Panini, qui crée une vraie folie auprès de 4 ou 77 ans. On va prolonger ça. Et het is in die mate ook dat we in 2016, voor Euro 2016, een concours hebben gedaan met onze klanten, met de Panini-actie. En dat wij een hele mooie prijs hebben weg te geven. En ik moet eerlijk zeggen, ik ben toch wel stik jaloers op de winnaar van deze prijs.
In China, heroes get their own statue. In America, heroes are sculpted out of a really big mountain. And in Belgium, we put our heroes on a football table. Carrefour Belgium presents Play with the Red Devils. For Euro 2016, Carrefour gave its national football heroes back to the people. First, we scanned the real Red Devils in 3D. Next, we modelled them and scaled them to size. Finally, it was time to start printing. We then carefully hand-painted each player, layer by layer. And assembled the table. Oh dear, we forgot the other team. Or did we? On Facebook, fans could predict all the Red Devils games. The winner and 10 of his friends were also scanned, printed and hand-painted. They became the other team. From now on, these lucky fans can play against the Belgian Red Devils whenever they want.
Voilà, mag ik Maarten vragen naar voren te komen en samen met ons de prijs in ontvangst te nemen?
seulement de l'eau. The last one. You play really well. Ja, proficiat aan de winnaar. Om eerlijk te zijn ben ik ook een beetje jaloers. Voilà, maintenant nous allons aborder le chapitre des Diables Rouges. Op maandag 5 juni spelen onze Rode Duivels een vriendschappelijke wedstrijd tegen Tsjechië in het Koning Boudewijn Stadion. De aftrap is om 8:15. En op vrijdag 9 juni spelen ze een 6e WK-kwalificatiewedstrijd in en tegen Estland in de A. Le Coq Arena van Tallinn. De aftrap is ook om 8:45 Belgische tijd. Ter info zullen 1300 Belgische supporters deze wedstrijd in en tegen Estland bijwonen. Het gaat om de maximale capaciteit voor onze supporters. Donc, pour information concernant ce match en déplacement en Estonie, il y aura 1300 supporters belges qui seront présents, ce qui équivaut à la capacité maximale qui était allouée justement à nos supporters. Pour ce qui est du match amical à domicile contre la Tchéquie du lundi 5 juin, il y a en ce moment toujours une vente en ligne pour le grand public via notre site internet belgianfootball.be. Il est possible de commander jusqu'à 4 tickets maximum par personne. À nouveau, ce match se déroulera dans un stade qui sera non fumeur et pour des raisons de sécurité, ce sera de nouveau impossible d'entrer avec un sac et ce, quel qu'en soit le format et la taille. Wat deze wedstrijd tegen Tsjechië betreft, is er momenteel nog een online ticketverkoop via onze officiële website belgianfootball.be. Het gaat om een ticketverkoop voor het grote publiek en het is mogelijk om tot en met 4 tickets per persoon te bestellen. Deze wedstrijd zal opnieuw in een rookvrij stadion gespeeld worden en om veiligheidsredenen is het onmogelijk om in het stadion binnen te raken met een zak of een tas, groot of klein. Naar aanleiding van deze activiteit van onze nationale ploeg organiseerde KBVB de 3e Family Day met de Rode Duivels, dus op zaterdag 3 juni in het Koning Boudewijn Stadion. Uiteraard is dit evenement gratis en de supporters zijn welkom vanaf 10 uur. Parking C is toegankelijk, maar er wordt aangeraden het openbaar vervoer te gebruiken. Vanaf 11 uur is er een training van de Rode Duivels, de enige die helemaal open zal zijn voor de supporters. In het begin van de namiddag zijn de spelers beschikbaar op de esplanade rond het stadion voor signeer- en fotosessies. Bovendien zullen er verschillende animaties zijn. En wat deze activiteit betreft en om veiligheidsredenen is het ook onmogelijk om zakken en of tassen, groot of klein, mee te brengen. Donc à l'occasion de cette activité de notre équipe nationale, la Fédération belge de football organise un Family Day avec les Diables Rouges. Donc c'est le 3e Family Day, ce qui aura lieu donc le samedi 3 juin au Stade Roi-Baudouin. C'est un événement qui bien évidemment est gratuit pour tout un chacun et les supporters seront les bienvenus à compter de 10 heures. Le parking C sera accessible à tous, mais on conseille vivement d'utiliser les transports en commun. À partir de 11 heures, il y aura un entraînement des Diables Rouges. Ce sera le seul entraînement de cette activité qui sera entièrement ouvert pour les supporters. Et en début d'après-midi, les joueurs seront disponibles sur l'esplanade tout autour du stade pour des séances photos et des dédicaces. De nombreuses animations aussi seront prévues. Et toujours concernant cette activité, il est également à souligner que pour des raisons de sécurité, ce sera à nouveau impossible d'entrer avec un sac, quelle qu'en soit la taille et le format. Okay, now I will leave the floor to our coach Roberto Martinez, who will give us his squad list for the 2 upcoming games of the Belgian Red Devils.
Thank you, Pierre. Good afternoon, all. The squad of the Red Devils for the upcoming games against Czech Republic and Estonia is Thibaut Courtois, Simon Mignolet, Koen Castells, Matt Sells, Toby Alderweireld, Dedrick Boyata, Jan Vertonghen, Vincent Kompany, Thomas Vermaelen, Laurens Simon, Leander Den Donker, Nasser Chadli, Thomas Fouquet, Yannick Carrasco, Torgan Hazard, Axel Witsel, Kevin De Bruyne, Marouane Fellaini, Yuri Tillemans, Raja Nainggolan, Kevin Mirallas, Dries Mertens, Eden Hazard, Michy Batshuayi, Divock Origi, Romelu Lukaku, and Christian Benteke. Thank you.
Okay, before the questions of the media, Coach, what are your expectations regarding the family day? It's your first time, I think so.
It is, yeah.
And the two games.
But I think we always have an open session, and I think this time we always found it that is only over 1,000 people that they are allowed to come to 2Bs. I think it's a very good opportunity to have as many fans as we can, and then have an open session is an important opportunity for us to share those moments with the fans. And I think straight after, the players will spend as long as we can signing autographs and trying to meet as many of our young fans, which is something that we're really looking forward to. There's not many times that you can fit it in, and this one is a perfect cold up to do it.
Okay, and regarding the two games?
As we know, the Estonia game is a vital game. On paper, everyone I hear to say that is an easy game, and I get quite frustrated with that, because we know that we faced Estonia not long ago, and it was a team that they came with a very brave intent and play eye to eye, and that made it a very open game. But it'll be very different in Tallinn. We got 3 away games left. That's Bosnia and Herzegovina, Greece, and Estonia, and those 3 points are as good as each other, so they are vital. And then the Czech Republic game is a good opportunity, even though Laurens Simon and Axel Witsel will not be involved in that game, because they got games in the weekend with their clubs. It's a good opportunity to see our younger players in the group, how they can take the big roles, and we'll have a good game to prepare the Estonia game. After that, some of the players had a period of inactivity now since their leagues finished at their clubs.
Ok, thank you, Coach. On va maintenant passer aux questions des médias. On va tout d'abord commencer par les chaînes télé. Vincent?
Yes, Coach.
Hello.
First question about the comeback of Vincent Kompany, of course. Such a spectacular end of season of Vincent. What do you think about it? And a Vincent Kompany, a solid one like that, is always in a start 11, no?
Well, I think first and foremost is I haven't selected Vincent Kompany. I think he selected himself to play the last consecutive 8 games after the long period that he had through injury is spectacular. There's not many players that they could do that. Then if you look at the level of performance, it's been very, very impressive. Within that period, you had 2 sets of 3 games in less than 7 days. So obviously the body is reacting really well. And I think he showed how important he was for Manchester City. So for us, it's a really important period to welcome him back, to see how he is, and from that point on, allow him to enjoy his football again. I think it was important that in March we didn't call him up, because at that time he didn't have game practice, and it could have been a little bit against what he needed. And I think that is proved to be right, to see him with such a strong ending of the season, and now coming with a really strong mindset, as you can imagine.
Oh, is he important for the team also, as a personality?
Of course, I think we got a player that he knows how to win leagues and trophies. He's a leader. I think it's been a very, very tough period. In football, you get ups and downs. In football, as a player, you have to experience difficult moments. I don't think anything is harder than not being able to train or not being able to fight for your place when you are injured for a long time. And I think Vincent is past that period with flying colours. He's always been a support to the youngsters. He's always been someone behind the team. And now that he's fit and available, is a really good addition to our group.
You will be the captain?
No. The captain, Eden Hazard, started the qualifying campaign, and Eden will be the player that he carries on with his duties. Even though, as I said before, I expect this group to have 5 or 6 captains, and Vincent clearly is one of those.
There is no surprise in this team. Everybody is fit.
Yes, and I think it's a large squad for a reason. First, because Axel Witsel and Laurent Simon will miss the first game, and then because there are a couple of players that, with the information that we have from the clubs, they carry a little knock, and I need to assess them, and I want to see them. Torgan Hazard had a long period of injury, but he made it in the last game of the league, and is an important player for me to have in the camp and see him. Divock Origi couldn't play the last game, the friendly game that Liverpool had in the tour, and then other players that I want to see in the environment, and it's a very good opportunity for us to work. This is our training center. We're going to be able to be very specific with individuals, and that's the reason for having a large squad.
Good afternoon, Roberto.
Good afternoon.
First question, Thomas Vermaelen is in the squad. You've stressed before that it's important that players will have some time in playing at their club. He hasn't been playing more than 15 minutes, I think, in the last couple of months. Why is he there then?
Two reasons. One, because his behavior and his performance with the national team has been pristine. His performance against Russia was very impressive for someone that he doesn't play regularly. And the other one is because he's got that experience and know-how, and he can help the group to train well and to have concepts that a back three needs. The other aspect is very important, and he knows that next season he has to find playing time because he's competing with other players. I don't pick the players for my taste. I pick the players that they need to bring a balanced group, and that competitive nature is there. So Thomas Vermaelen will have a very important summer going back to Barcelona and deciding what's the next move in his career. But at the moment, he's earned the right to be here for what he did in the last called up in March.
There's no Steven de Voer. He has had the same problem the last couple of weeks. He hasn't been playing a lot, like last 7-8 games, apart from the last game.
Yes, Steven has been unfortunate because the other players in his position, they played a huge amount of minutes. I still feel that Steven de Voer is in our plans, and I still feel that he's got a lot to offer. It's been difficult. I went to visit him in Burnley at his training place, and he needs a fresh challenge, and he needs probably a new start. But he's not in the squad just because the others in his position, they played a lot of minutes and they had very strong ending of the season. It's important that the players that they're here with an opportunity to impress and with an opportunity to be in an important role. Steven couldn't get that with the amount of midfielders that we have, but he knows that it's part of my plans long term.
Last question. I'm afraid I have to bother you again with Raja Nainggolan because there hasn't been official communication on your side about what has been going on after the Greece game. Can you tell us whether you've considered not taking him because of his behavior, although it was in his spare time?
Well, I think it was, first and foremost, we take very, very seriously what our players do representing the Red Devils, because they are, the way I see it, they are ambassadors of Belgian football, and what they do while they are in camp is vitally important for me. So that's something that at the time it needed an investigation, and internally the federation did that. And at that point, the players in question did nothing wrong, or nothing that it was under the code of conduct. Going forward, I think it's very clear that is the way that we're going to behave while we are with the Red Devils is important. But I don't think that was a point or a problem in order to stop the selection of Raja Nainggolan. I think Raja has performed in a very impressive manner with Roma this season. He's finished the season really strongly. He's played the last 2 games, and I think at the moment he's earned the right to be in the squad.
But would you call that kind of behavior, even though it's in its spare time, professional? Knowing that there's another game coming up in like 1 or 2 days?
Yeah, the rules are clear, and we need to have very clarity in terms of what the players do, even if it's their spare time while they represented the Red Devils. That's very, very clear. And I think we're going to reaffirm those points, and we're going to make it for everyone that going forward, is not an uncertain matter. It's very, very clear. And again, I'll stress it. It's very important for us, the image of a footballer, an image of a Red Devil. We know that they are the first example to the youngsters and to the generation in Belgium. So I'll make sure that that's very, very clear.
You selected Yuri Tillmans. What do you think about his transfer in Monaco? He's taking another dimension, no?
Well, I think Yuri is, for me, is the example of when a young player has to move from Belgian football. There's a lot of talk about young players leaving Belgian football. Most of the time, I think it's the wrong time. Any player needs to find a different challenge. Any player needs to find a different stimulation. Sometimes you can do it in the same club. Sometimes you can do it in the same league. Sometimes you have to do it abroad. I think Yuri has been an example of a young player becoming into in a big club, in a big team with big expectations, playing over 180 games for the first team, winning titles, and there is a good agreement between the club and the player that the next step had to be a transfer abroad. I think that's the way it should be. I've seen too many young players that they left the Belgium league too early. Top and bottom is you need to be ready to move. And I think Yuri Tillmans is ready now and is commanded the biggest transfer or the record transfer in Belgian football. And I think everyone wishes him well in Anderlecht. He's won the league, which I think as an individual you need to drive towards winning something as a team. And I think it's the perfect scenario how a player progresses, and everyone will wish him really well for the future.
Can we expect to see him against Czech Republic?
Yeah, I would expect that we're gonna see Yuri in the first game, but that's something that I need to see them on Friday. The work that we're gonna do in the first 3 days is gonna be important towards the game, and then it's almost seeing how the players show their levels. It's gonna be a real disparity of levels. Players that they stopped for 10 days, players that they stopped just 4 days ago. So once we get that information, I expect Yuri to be involved.
The same for the Den Donker. Do you think he's evolving too, like Tillmans?
I think Leander probably has been the most developed footballer in Belgian football. I think there have been some youngsters that they followed, that they developed immensely since November. I think Leander is developed up to a point that probably has attracted a lot of interest because his performances in Europa League especially, they've been very impressive. I think what I see on Leander is his mentality. Is a very, very strong character that he never sees a limitation. He can develop and he can achieve something that probably other players don't think they can get. His versatility is very important in the group. He can play centre half for us and he can play in midfield as he does with the club. So in that respect, even though he's still a young player, and when I say young player in terms of playing games played, is someone that has earned the right to be in the Red Devils.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, on va maintenant passer aux questions des autres médias. Mais avant ça, je voudrais juste dire que notre live streaming touche à sa fin. On remercie toutes les personnes qui nous ont suivis via celui-ci. Dus dit is het einde van onze livestream. We bedanken al onze kijkers. Tot zeer binnenkort. Ludo, zonder micro.
Yes.